So let's
Sorted.
do this as a slide. All right.
Well, I'll let you do the introduction.
Okay, righto. So, guys, we're going to do a 30-minute webinar about what you really need to know about social media and the law. Obviously, it's a really hot topic at the moment, and it's going to get bigger and bigger as every business now starts to get online more and starts to get their presence and also their name out there in the market, start to become more visible on social media, start to be more active on social media, and start to have their employees, doing that task for them, or outsourced third parties. First of all, disclaimer. So this is just for informational general purposes only. It's not to be taken as legal advice, but if you need some specific advice from us on specific issues, then please contact us afterwards. We usually don't do this stuff as a Q&A because we don't want to breach confidentiality or privacy. And unfortunately, that's the only way we can really do it in law. We can give you this general information that gives you quite a bit of guidance from the thousands of startups that we've helped now. This is obviously something that's becoming a lot more prevalent these days, and we thought it would be a good one to end the year on, especially as Christmas time's coming up and everyone's got a lot more access and their thumbs are working on mobile phones, etc. So if you need to contact us, please feel free to contact either Claire or I after the webinar, and we can speak to you about specific stuff. Or if there's questions that arise, please send us an email and we'll come back to you.
I have captured those of you who took the time to ask questions in response to the post that I made last week. Thank you. I have attempted to address all of those questions in this presentation. But if there's anything extra arising, just contact us afterwards.
Yeah, cool. So by the end of this session, you'll have an understanding of the legal risks associated with using social media in your business and what steps you can take to mitigate those risks and protect your business moving forward. Yeah. I might do this one, Claire. In what we do find a lot is businesses not, being sure they put their brain into being engaged before they put their mouth or fingers into gear. And unfortunately, once stuff gets posted out on the social media, it's in the public domain. It's published. Potentially, thousands of people can see it. If it gets shared, then even more. And then also once it's out there too, there's record of it being out there. So it's not just a case of removing the content afterwards, which obviously it can be for the point of reducing the amount of damage that's been done. But you need to be aware, once it's up there, and people can see it, people can screenshot it. It can be cached and used as evidence. Claire, do you want to give an example of that?
I might just, I'll just tell a quick story. We had a client recently receive a defamatory comment on a Facebook page, and as you would, she got quite emotional and she responded in a way that was highly emotive and potentially defamatory herself. Anyway, she woke up the next day, realized, goodness, wish I didn't do that, tried to take it down. She was able to take it down. However, in the meantime, the person who made the post actually screenshot her response and has subsequently reposted it. So she's never going to be able to get away with from what she said. Once it's out there, it's out there. So think before you post.
Yeah, and it can be used as evidence in court proceedings. With the amount of people that have viewed the post, obviously that's going to be really important to the amount of damage that's been done. The other thing is, you'll have noticed as well that online now there's a bit of not intentional misleading and deceiving stuff, but just things that kind of borderline on being misleading and deceiving, especially in terms of offers for products. I saw one the other day. I won't name the company, but they sell compression shorts. And other compression stuff, and they did a 20% off 20 products over the weekend, but it was 20% off 20. And, I sort of looked at that and didn't really think from that it applied only to 20 products. And when you get to the site, then you go through and you buy now, and then suddenly you realize that it's not 20% off. It's only 20% off 20 of these products, and none of the products obviously were products that were popular. So it was kind of a bit misleading in that respect, and I sort of emailed them about that. But also as a consumer, I felt a little bit, I'm not likely to buy from them now, because it leaves you with a bad impression. That's the whole point of this as well. If you've got to be really clear with what you're offering, so as not to come anywhere near the red line. And of course, the Australian consumer laws and the ACCC, have powers to enforce those laws if you breach, and powers to investigate and all the rest of the stuff. You just don't want that attention, even if, and loads of consumers now know their rights. So they're quite likely to complain to these professional bodies, which will then, instigate an audit and all that sort of stuff. So you want to check and recheck before you post this stuff.
Exactly. A lot of people think with social media, I can be a little bit more informal. Laws might not necessarily apply, but look, all laws do apply on social media, just as they do in real life.
Bricks and mortar, yeah.
Exactly. So,
and I think as well, there's a bit of misunderstanding that people can get away with more online because it's not face to face, and it's just not true. And when it comes to the legal perspective, and so we're seeing quite a bit of people get into trouble. And in fact, the danger is even more because it can be widely disseminated to a whole number of individuals really quickly if it's out there on social media. Far more than say if I was telling Claire about this company, the only damage would be caused to her. Whereas if it's on social media, then it can certainly go viral.
And I think maybe go back one slide.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, apologies. That's fine. Next.
So yeah, defamation is another really big thing at the moment. We're seeing, and we're getting a lot of cases come to us where clients have been defamed on social media, and it's a really big issue because people are just sort of writing their own opinions and not really having regard to the fact that this content can be breaching laws in terms of slander, libel, defamatory publications, and whereas sorry, Claire.
Okay. I was just going to say, for those of you who don't know exactly what defamation is is anything that can potentially damage your reputation, as the slide says, slanderous, libelous, or defamatory comments. So anything that's untrue and can damage your reputation.
Yeah, and whereas defamation only applied to individuals, some time ago, the laws have been changed.
2015.
So very, very recently, that allows small businesses that are those with fewer than 10 employees to actually be defamed as well, because they realise that small businesses, they're so they needed that extra protection, which is great. But not many people know this, that you can actually defame a business now if it's got fewer than 10 employees.
So if you're on social media policing the use of your business's brand, mark, etc., and you see content that is potentially damaging to yours or your business's reputation, then you could potentially bring a claim for defamation. So to make a claim for defamation, you first of all need to ensure that the content has been seen or heard by at least one other person, obviously.
Which is called being published.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Secondly, you have to ask yourself, would this content cause an average person to think less of you or your business, goes to that damage to reputation point.
And as you can imagine, that's not a really high bar to jump. If something's going to cause damage to a reputation, that doesn't seem like a high bar with some of the stuff that you've probably seen on social media that's been written about businesses or people or individuals.
There are some of defences available, which I'll list on the next slide. Those, so provided none of those apply, then you can potentially bring a claim for defamation. We obviously recommend you speak to us, speak to a lawyer before you start alleging any claim, though.
Yeah, sorry. So that it should read there are defences available, not there are no defences.
So you can only bring a claim if there are no defense. Yeah, if there are no defences available. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes. Right. Okay. Yep. We just want to make that clear. There are defences available. But you can bring a claim if they don't apply.
Yeah. It's important to note, though, that you've only got 1 year from the date of the comment or publication to bring a claim for defamation. And then on the next slide, we've got some of the defences. So even if something seems defamatory, you can't bring a claim for defamation if the comment is substantially true, if it's published with the consent of the person or the business being defamed, or unless if the content wasn't very important and it's unlikely that that person's or business's reputation will actually be damaged.
So basically triviality. If it's trivial, exactly. Or substantially true. And that's a good point. I mean, if it's just matter of fact, then there'll be a defence to it. We just thought we'd kick off with defamation because it is something really important that we're seeing a lot more of with social media.
Definitely. I mean, we've had 2 or 3 potential defamation matters this week. Yeah.
So they're starting to really ramp up. Another thing that I sort of noticed a lot on social media is how you address negative comments and feedback on Google reviews or these other sort of sites where there's or Facebook pages where they leave negative feedback. And what I've seen a lot of businesses do right is sticking to the facts and keeping emotion out of it. If a customer's got a genuine complaint, then dealing with it seriously, be seen to be dealing with it seriously, not just dealing with it seriously. And acting in a professional manner makes you look as a business owner far better in other potential clients' eyes as well. Where we do see some businesses getting into hot water is engaging in this in debate and denying things and this, that, and the other, and then potentially getting into a bit of a slinging match with clients or customers that leave negative reviews, which then just escalate, and we can you can see them through the chain just escalate and escalate and escalate. So it's really important to note that all the laws that apply in bricks and mortar also apply online. So don't defame them, don't call them names or this, that, and the other. It's just going to get you in trouble, and then potentially inflame the situation, which may lead to a complaint or a legal avenue of redress, court proceedings. So just don't engage, on that level. Just try and rise above it. I appreciate that. It'd be very, very difficult. And if you need to take some time just to, think about it, walk around the block, do what you got to do, talk to somebody else first, run it by someone else first before you respond. That's always a good idea. And
keep emotion out of it.
Yeah, keep emotion out of it, and also I think setting that sort of example to your team as well, and talking to your team if they're going to be addressing negative comments about customers as well. So coaching them on and having some policies in place that make sure that there's a level of review first before responses are provided.
Just quickly, TripAdvisor are really good at dealing with feedback online. I find you'll note that if something, sorry, not TripAdvisor. Anyway, you'll see a lot of small businesses have a dedicated social media person who will respond to feedback, and you know, they always stick to the facts. They always keep it clean, professional, and I think, you know, that way is absolutely best.
I'm sure you'll think of it later. I think this one's your one.
Pardon?
I think this one's your one.
Yes. Now I think it was Ashley Barr. Hope you're there, Ashley. Wanted to know about the rules around using content that is found online that's not necessarily created or owned by you. Now, for your information, when you publish content, you have inherent copyright in that content, so you own it, and if you find someone else copying it, then you've got a right to say, look, I own the copyright in that, please stop using it. There's also some other intellectual property rights that may crop up in this space. For example, trademarks. If you've got a trademark and you own the legal rights in that, that's another topic. So
we actually just so an example of that, a long time ago we had a client come to us that had whose client found some of their website designs and whatnot being used by another web developer as part of their portfolio, so that they were showing this off as part of their portfolio, when actually they didn't own it at all. So we had to write very quickly to him to take it down, and you know, it was obviously done, but these people are out there, you know, that just basically rip off other people's work and pass it off as their own.
Exactly. It's important to remember that passing off, if you know that someone else is using your brand name, holding themselves out as providing services or products the same or similar to yours, that is an offence. That is the offence of passing off, and you could take legal action against them.
Yep. And if you do, just on that point, if you do find somebody else is, breaching your copyright or your intellectual property, your trademarks, your designs, logos, whatever, take a screenshot of it, preserve the evidence, so that you can later use it, because if they take it down, then it's obviously all gone. And you won't be able to, it's very difficult to then try and get it back. It's not impossible, but certainly if you do see something that is offensive, take a screenshot of the post so that you preserve the evidence, where you can see who the person is, how many people viewed it, etc., or any comments. So just to make sure that there's some evidence trail if you need to use it later on.
Absolutely. So to answer Ashley's question, get consent from the owner of the content wherever possible. Appreciate that it's not always possible to get the owner's consent, and in that instance, you should be sure that you recognise the source of the content on your publication of that content. Also important to check whether there are any website terms and conditions associated with the content that you're using. I know we certainly strive to protect our clients' content, our clients' website content in their terms and conditions by setting out very clearly that, our client owns the content and all intellectual property rights in the content of their website, and that if it's and that reproduction is strictly prohibited. And in the event that reproduction does occur, then if our client suffers any loss as a result of that, then we can make a claim against them for any damages that we may suffer as a result of their breach of terms and conditions. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're copying content, check the website terms and conditions first, because a legal action may be brought against you if you breach those terms and conditions.
Yep. All right, let's rip through. We've got 10 more minutes.
Right. Trade promotions.
Trade
Quite a few of you wanted to. Sorry.
There you go.
Quite a few of you wanted to know what the rules around online competitions were. Now, such a hot thing at the moment. You know, post your picture of yourself in our product. Tell us in 25 words or less why you think we're so amazing, etc. These are all trade promotions. Now, first of all, important to know that the laws and regulations helpfully vary from state to state. There are some general comments that can be made though. Wherever you offer a trade promotion, a competition, you need to be sure that you've got clear terms and conditions in place that comply with the Australian consumer laws in respect of that promotion. You need to be clear on who the offer is being made by, what the offer is, any deadlines. It's all about being transparent, but there are certain things that are required from a legal perspective. So it's really important that you get clear, tailored terms relevant to your business, relevant to the promotion, ideally drafted with some legal input. As I said, the laws and regulations do vary from state to state, especially in relation to where a permit may be required. I had a client recently ask us, if she needed a permit to run an Instagram competition, and this was in New South Wales, and it seems that where the competition is a game of skill, and by game of skill I mean a competition that necessitates some sort of judging element, the best photo wins or the best hats wins. That's a game of skill.
By a panel, yeah.
By a panel, exactly. And that's versus a game of chance, which is like a lottery. It's purely random. So I know that in New South Wales and also in Western Australia, you do not require a permit for games of skill. So if you're running a competition, make sure that you do judge the responses, so that it can't be construed as a game of chance, because otherwise you'll be, you could be fined by your...
Yeah, like when we gave away the free legals for a year on one of our Legal Shield packages at the events, we had to register with New South Wales Gaming. I think it was about $100 or something. It wasn't much, just to register the competition as a promotion, prior to it being done. It's just got to be done. A lot of people don't know about this, so it is really important. And a lot of people do promote these on social media. So once it's out there, as we said before, it's out there. It's in the public domain, there are fines and all the rest of the stuff that apply if you don't. So
get your terms and conditions drafted.
Yep.
I think we've gone through that. We can skip that one.
Yeah, so I might just grab this one from you, Claire. Give you a rest. A big thing about as a small business owner, the liability rests with you. Your actions of your employees, actions of your contractors, anyone that's acting as an agent on your behalf. It all stops with you. So you're the one that's got to demonstrate essentially. And can be embroiled into proceedings, if they happen, and unfortunately that's the risk we take in business. How we can ameliorate or mitigate the risk is by making sure that some steps are taken to stop certain things from happening, having someone monitor other people's work and social media, etc. And also, you should do the same as well, just as a third layer. But implementing a clear and enforceable social media policy and a code of conduct by your employees as well, or any third party that you engage to perform these social media services, under your business's name, and then having something in place which has consequences if they do breach the agreement that are serious enough for them to to really heed that and make sure that your business's reputation is paramount, and it's not to be damaged in any way. Because at the end of the day, we've seen some really, really big brands do some really stupid things online, and they're, even the big companies have done all sorts of stupid things online, and there's a litany of these types. And all you need to do is just Google social media fails of 2016, 15, 14, 13, and there's a whole raft of examples you can see with with businesses posting inappropriate content, or content that might not seem offensive but would be offensive to a particular group of individuals. You just need to really be lateral in your thinking about, okay, is this going to offend someone? If it is going to offend someone, then really have a close look at it before you decide to post. And if on the side of caution, if there is anything close to the red line, just avoid it like the plague. Making sure that whoever's is in charge of your social media in-house is really clear about what they can and can't post. A lot of the times, in businesses nowadays, you'll find that young people are in charge of the social media, and they're usually the newer sort of members that are young, and we're going to do social media, and you're going to be in charge of this and this and this, and post on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and la-di-da, and Hootsuite, etc. But it's the difficulty is that some of these young people don't perhaps value or understand the consequences of social media as much as the business owner, for instance. So just be really wary. That and it's a lot of responsibility to put in someone so young in a business's life. And if you're outsourcing to a third party, make sure you've got very clear terms and conditions and clauses around protecting your intellectual property, your brand, your passwords and all the rest. And if you've got passwords and you've got them on LastPass, make sure you can just share the passwords with them and then cut them off if they do, if something does happen, so that you can at least stop the amount of damage that's taken place. We've seen some third parties that have even accidentally or inadvertently posted stuff which the business didn't like. That goes on to this. We've dealt with the terms and conditions, and also making sure you've got an up-to-date privacy policy that fits with your business, that complies with the Australian privacy principles.
Exactly. Don't cut and paste your privacy policies.
Yeah, we see a lot of privacy policies that are just simply cut and paste from other businesses, and unfortunately they don't cover you for what you actually need to. Which sets out what information you collect, where it's stored, how it's complaints policies, blah 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 blah. There's a whole host of stuff that you need to deal with that we look at privacy policies online, and they just don't cut the mustard. Finally, just before we go, what I wanted to do is extend to everyone that's on the webinar, and we've got at least 50 people, so it's great. We're going to be able to offer you something really special for Christmas. We'll just as a result of this, we worked out, people really need to have a social media policy for their business. Make sure that, and also some trade promotion terms and conditions. Make sure their privacy policy complies with the Act, and also if you've even if you've done your terms and conditions already with your clients, maybe have them legally reviewed as well. So if you sign up to our C package on Legal Shield, if you just go to progressivelegal.com.au and then click on Legal Shield, you'll be able to see our packages. One of them is the seed package, which usually you only get three things, but I'm happy to make that to also include a social media policy and also the trade promotion terms and conditions on top, just for Christmas, just for those who are attending this webinar. Thank you so much for spending your time. I know that with the Christmas rush, it's really busy for everyone right now. We just wanted to kind of do this one last one before Christmas, and we really starting to enjoy doing these for everyone, because we know we can get a lot of information to small business owners on one-to-many approach. So have a look for the next one in the new year. If we don't speak to you before then, have a great Christmas and drive safe, and